So we're going to go over an equation of a circle. This is the equation you have. Okay? It says that whatever x value you have, you square it, plus whatever y value you have, you square it. And that would be equal to the R2. Who knows what R weight stand for? Radius. So what they're saying is the radius of a circle squared is equal to these, or this equation. Okay? So this is also the equation of a circle that has its origin, or its center at the origin on a graph. All the circles we're going to work with, for especially this quiz coming up, are all going to have their center in the middle of the graph. Okay, so we don't have to worry about shifting it anywhere. So, if I were to tell you, for instance, that this is a side question, we'll call this question 2 the graph. On question 1, let's say I told you that the radius of a circle was 8. What would the equation of that circle be? Well, we start off with our x squared plus y squared equals what?
8 squared.
8 squared. And when I square 8, what do I get?
864.
That's it. That's the equation of the circle. As soon as you have the radius, it's very simple. You just plug in the radius for whatever the r value is, and you have the equation of the circle. I'm just going to call this 1b. What if I told you that the equation of a circle was this? See if anyone knows it. What's the radius? 12. In other words, all we have to do is take the square root of the term on the other side, and the square root of 144 is 12. So the radius of this would be 12. So in this question here, we're going to call this question 2 now. And that's essentially all there is to the equation of a circle. As long as you can figure out, if I give you a radius, or you see the equation, you can solve the radius, or you can solve the equation, vice versa. Very simple stuff. Okay? We're going to use some knowledge we've learned in the last couple days. We have this question here. And what they've done is a center, or a circle at the center at the origin, and they've given us a coordinate on it. I need to find the equation of this circle. In order to figure out the equation of the circle, what part of the circle do I need to know? Radius. Now, technically, let's take a look. It looks like the radius is probably going to be 5. The radius is from the center of the circle to anywhere on the outside. Because it's circular, it'll be the same distance no matter where we measure. I can look at this and kind of count up, and it looks like it's going to be 5. But never know, it might be 4.9, right? I might be a little off. So I have this coordinate here. We know that this is on the outside of the circle, and it starts at the center. To figure out this radius, what formula do I need to know? No, what?
Distance.
Length of a line, or the distance of a line. We know it starts at the center, so the center is at 0 and 0, and our other point is 3 and 4, so we're going to use distance of a line. If you guys remember, distance or length of a line is the same formula. I'll get rid of those arrows. Is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1. Okay? Our values were 0 and 0 and 3 and 4. I'm going to call the zeros the x2s and y2s, just so we can prove the point that it really doesn't matter. That's a y. So x2, in this case, is what value? 0. Okay. 0 subtract x1 is 3 squared, plus y2 is 0, subtract 4, which is y1 squared. Now, if we'd done vice versa, it would have been 3 subtract 0 and 4 subtract 0. Okay? So I'm going to show you how these would have ended up being the exact same also. Well, what's 0 subtract 3? Negative 3, so we just get the roots of this. So we're going to get negative 3 squared plus negative 4 squared. And if we'd done it the other way, what would the numbers have been? 3 and 4. They just wouldn't have been negative in this case. Well, when I square negative 3, what do I get? And when I square negative 4?
16.
So we get 9 plus 16. And if I had squared the whole number values, would they have been the same?
Yes.
So this is kind of proving that whether I called this one the 2 value coordinate or this one the 1 or 2, I still would have ended up with the same answer. 9 plus 16? Close. Root of 25 is? Which is exactly what we pretty much witnessed when we looked up here. Right? We figured that the radius would be 5. But we're not done. The question asks for what? Anyone remember what I asked at the beginning?
Equation.
Square
Equation. So what is the equation of this circle?
y x squared plus y squared equals 5.
Equals 5 squared. And I do have to actually carry out that 5 squared. So what is it really?
25.
Is equal to 25. So that is the equation of our above circle.
Okay, sir.
That is all you need to do for a circle today.
Sir, we don't need to solve for.
So let's say they also gave us, or how would I do this if it was the x and y? This way I knew I needed to find a distance of something. But I want to relate this to my circle formula. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Well, because this is in the center, and this will only work when it's in the center, okay? Technically, this 3 is an x value on the circle, and this 4 is a y value. So let's figure out our formula. Well, our formula for a circle is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Well, what that is our x squared, our x value was 3. Our y value was 4. And we're trying to find the radius. Okay? Well, what if I were to kind of bring that squared to the other side?
What do you mean?
Oh, wait, actually, let's work this out. What's 3 squared? 4 squared? Are you guys seeing any similarities? It's pretty much our distance formula. When I bring my squared over, I got to find the square root of 9 plus 16, which is 25. So our radius is equal to 5. Now, this is again when our circle has the center in the middle. This works. Okay, if it's not, but we're not dealing with it when it's not there. So this would be the same thing. What it's showing you is this distance formula is very similar to our radius of radius or equation of a circle formula. Okay, especially when the circle is in the middle of it, those formulas are essentially the exact same thing. Because we know from the center of anything will be the coordinates. You could turn this into almost like a triangle, right? Remember we talked about how distance is like Pythagorean's theorem. This is the x distance. I want to change that color. Your x distance is how far you go across here, which in this case was 3. And our y distance is how far we go up from there, which is 4. We essentially make a triangle to figure out how far the radius is in this question. Okay, so entire page.